This is Rob, and I'm painting stuff. I've really been enjoying lately adapting ideas and concepts and designs from text alone. This is Kaladin from the Stormlight Archives, and this is a novel series that I've been pretty into in the past. And a long story short, a new book just came out a couple of months ago, and I want to reread all of the previous ones in the series to get all caught up because it's been a while. And I thought it would be really fun to draw and paint some scenes and characters and designs and just stuff that I felt was compelling or that I would enjoy drawing. And there's no real end goal in mind. I'm just doing it for fun and for development and for practice. And it's been super rewarding so far. So full disclosure, I totally based this design on Adam Driver, who is absolutely my fan casting for this character. I feel like he would be perfect for the job, even though he's a lot older. Kaladin's supposed to be 19, but he's a war veteran, so give him a little slack for being all wrinkly and messed up. But that was one of the things I thought about first. Was like, well, okay, so I can get a human reference, so I don't have to do the whole thing from imagination. Who would this guy be played by in a movie? Also, to figure out what exactly the details of the clothes look like. What sort of clothes would he be wearing in this army? He's in this like feudal army kind of before shit really starts to pop off in the story. And the outfit is given a very vague description of being like, I think like a spearman's jerkin or something like that. So I interpreted that to be a sort of like heavy padded cloth with, leather breeches and leather shoes, nothing too fancy, but also very practical. Oh man, the glazing. I love this step. If you've got some solid textures down at first, the glazing just does so much to bring out the dimensionality of a shape. And you see, I roll the brush there to kind of smooth out the cheek. I felt like that was really effective for what I was trying to do. And so going back to this jerkin here, I got the design from looking up just some 14th to 16th century, what did pikemen wear back then, from different cultures, and it's kind of putting together like, okay, this makes sense based on what is practical and because he's described as being really light-footed and jumping around a bunch, so I wanted him to not be weighed down by a bunch of armor and stuff like that. So it made sense that he's wearing pretty basic gear. And I had this white space here, so I figured I'd bust out the old Pentel pocket brush and do another drawing down at the bottom. And this time I wanted to show him doing something more aggressive, to show kind of just a little different facet of his bearing, and show him maybe thrusting a spear into an enemy or something like that. So Pentel pocket brush for that nice swoopy line work, and then I go in with the Micron fine liner for the really fine gritty stuff. And I love drawing soldiers and rough people for the reason that you can. It's kind of like the more detail you put into the face, the more expressive and haggard they look. The more they look like they're going through something. Look, this guy's not here to be pretty. He's here to put a spear into a guy. A little bit of that detail goes a long way, and I love the texture that it gives to a character. That it brings the violence to life in a way that's really fun and personal. And now I gave myself an extra challenge by doing the paintings at separate times, which means I have to try and match my original palette, which is tricky. So that was basically a little yellow, a little orange, and a teeny bit of dark violet to sort of neutralize it and make it a little less orangey. But it looks a little bit too tangerine at first, but as I get the glazing layer on, it starts to come through a little bit more and look more like the original one. And that's something that's very challenging about this traditional media, like matching colors over different, if this was for a comic or something, it would be super, like I'd have to be way more, I would say administrative about how I mix my colors and everything to be certain that everything's consistent. And so I love my Ralph Steadman splatters to give things more energy. I always think that's a good touch to throw down. And some swoopy hair, boy oh boy, we got a drawing of Kaladin Stormbless. How fun.